So you're thinking about going to Key West for vacation. Let me just tell you, one, it is a beautiful place. But here are some things that you do need to know before you go. Number one is the cost. So Key West is very touristy. So with a very touristy location comes with touristy prices. So be ready for things to be a little bit more expensive. So just know that. Next thing I'm going to talk about as far as Key West that you should know is the size of it. So I just recently went to Key West. The full vlog is right up here. You can click that link once you're finished with this video. It was my first time, so you know, I didn't know what to expect. Now, I knew that it was an island, but I didn't realize how small it was. So, or is. So just know that Key West actually isn't really that big. Because it's not really that big, there is stuff to do, but it's kind of like, you don't really need to spend a whole week there kind of thing. Like it'd be great for like a weekend getaway. Like my family and I, what we did, drove down on a Sunday and came back on like a Tuesday morning. So really we just had the whole day Monday, and honestly, that was the perfect amount of time. So everybody knows Florida is notorious for sunshine and beaches, right? So with Key West, however, there really weren't like any long, big public beaches that you will probably find in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Daytona Beach, like all the other beaches around the state, right? So just know, like, if you are going to be staying in Key West, especially around the Duval Street area, to my knowledge, there's not really a lot of like accessible public beaches. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are beaches, but again, they're probably very small, and you're gonna have to really like look them up to find them, because there's not something that, oh, there's a beach right there. It's none of that. So with Florida being very tropical, it also has a lot of wildlife. So I remember seeing a bunch of geckos. I think that's what they're called. They're like little lizards. They're like this big. They really don't bother you. There happened to be one that was like chilling on the chair next to me when we were eating breakfast at our hotel. So you have those, and then you have the chickens. So yes, be prepared to see a lot of chickens just roaming around pretty much everywhere in Key West. They're everywhere. The thing is though, like, they don't bother you. So as long as you don't bother them, they won't bother you. Don't worry about feeding them. Don't worry about bothering them. Just let them be. And yeah, it's fine. But it's just pretty interesting to just see them randomly. Like outside of a restaurant, they're there. Outside of your hotel, more than likely they will be there. So just be prepared to see them. So because Key West itself is small, but I'm gonna move on to more of like the Duval Street area, the touristy part where everybody goes to Key West for to get all like the good stuff, the key lime pie, all of that. So just know that parking is actually very limited. So not only is it limited, but once again, because it is a tourist destination, it's gonna be expensive. So keep that in mind. If you do have a rental car, or you're planning on driving down or driving around the city, make sure you keep that in mind. One of the main landmarks in Key West is the Southernmost Point Buoy. So because everybody wants to take a picture, be prepared for a long line. I would recommend that you get there as early as possible. Now, the day that I happened to go on, it just happened to be raining all morning that morning. And just about when we got there, the rain had stopped. So there was probably like maybe 6 people ahead of me. So I would say that I had that blessing, but I'm just saying, if you are going, especially during peak season, please plan accordingly. Try to get there as soon as you can. Now, so the food, there's some pretty decent choices, I'm not gonna lie. And this is coming from somebody who really likes food. I consider myself a foodie. But the first thing that was different for me, but it is kind of like a delicacy in Key West, is conch. So it's actually pronounced conch, not conch, but conch. And you can try conch fritter in some restaurants. To me, it did taste okay. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It was kind of like, oh, okay. Also, with Key West being approximately 90 miles from Cuba, you're gonna have some Cuban food. So there was a restaurant that we went to as well. I think it's called El Mesón de Pepe. and we had that. I liked it. It was pretty decent. So I'm just saying, like, the food there is pretty good. So you have, of course, you can fly in there. There's the Key West International Airport that you can fly into, but also you can drive down there from pretty much wherever in Florida you are. So for example, what my family and I did, we flew into Miami, and then the next day we drove down to Key West. So with traffic, it was about 4 hours it took us. And one thing to note too, if you do decide to drive, you will have the opportunity to cross the iconic 7 Mile Bridge. It is absolutely beautiful. I mean, water, turquoise water all around you for 7 miles straight. You get to see the little itty bitty islands along the way. It's actually really fun. It's actually a very nice drive. So I'm gonna talk about Duval Street. So when we went to Key West, it was in the beginning of November. So I don't know, I think that's actually like the peak season because the weather is a lot better. And I think it's just towards the end of hurricane season. So when we were there, especially just walking around Duval Street, it was like packed everywhere. It's like, it's so small, but it feels so big just because there's so many people around the city. But it's a lot of fun. You got your restaurants, you got vendors. You know how the people that play their instruments, they probably play like saxophone, so you got music going on. We did go to an art store, so there was pretty cool art pieces that we got to see. Duval Street, the Duval Street area, it just has a lot of stuff to do. And last, I had to save this one for last because I feel like it was my favorite one out of the whole trip. Key West is the birthplace of this fabulous, delicious dessert. That is the classic key lime pie. So here's the deal. With me, I like a lot of desserts. Key lime pie though, in general, has never really been my favorite. But when I went to Key West, you guys, we stopped at the Key Lime Pie Company. We ordered ourselves one whole key lime pie. When I tell you, we ate on that thing every night. Like, it was good. It was good. Like, I really enjoyed it. Just try it. While key lime pie is not my favorite dessert, I will eat key lime pie from Key West. So I hope that these tips helped you all, and I hope that, you know, you have a better understanding of what to expect, what Key West is like. But once again, I really encourage you to visit if you have not. I feel like it's a very cool place to go and hang out for a couple of days. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I'm gonna answer to the best of my ability. And like I mentioned earlier, you can watch the full Key West vlog right up here. And yeah, so that's all that I have for you guys today. I'm signing out. I'm Serena Kemba, and I hope that you guys have an amazing day. See you guys later.